Hey, what's up guys? My name is Sal, and this is another expedition log. Today's expedition takes us to a mall that almost never came to be. But only by the fortuitous meeting of two desperate mall developers who wanted to build their own malls very close together, but were met with so many barriers and obstacles that they decided to combine forces and do business together. Born from nearly 2 decades of patience and perseverance, the result is an affable little mall. Yet today it seems like it exists only on borrowed time. When I first pulled up to this place, I saw this area which was right on top of the hill from the mall, and I didn't think that it was part of the mall, but I saw that it may be adjoined to it and that it could be part of the property. And these trailers that I saw were just super creepy. And they had like the children's swimming pool inside, and it just seemed a little off. And then I saw this playground with the weeds growing over. And there was just something that put me off about this. Yet when I climbed on top, it gave me my first good look at the mall. So come take a walk with me in what used to be the Cranberry Mall and is now known as the Town Mall at Westminster, a mall that exists on borrowed time. This film is sponsored by Caldor.
Caldor's Holiday Savings Celebration. Right now you can save over 25% off a great selection of ladies' activewear separates. There are novelty striped tops with matching pants, and they're more than 25% off right now during Caldor's Holiday Savings Celebration.
In 1970, the Pence Petrie Development Company of McLean, Virginia planted a sign in rural farmland just off of Route 140 in Westminster, Maryland. The sign proclaimed that a shopping center is coming soon. Then in 1979, just 12.5 miles from the Pence Petrie project, the Shopko Advisory Group of New York announced plans to turn their site into another shopping center called the Franklin Mall. But Shopko was met with constant backlash over their Reisterstown, Maryland project. So one of the very first things that I saw when I got into this mall were these two gyms side by side here, with all of these awesome old people just killing it, knocking the bags out. I'm sure every one of them could just kill me in a boxing ring. There were an onslaught of building permit denials due to disagreements over zoning restrictions and daily sewage allowance deficiencies. The average household back in the 70s, they would use an average of 300 gallons of water per day. The mall, they wanted to use 50,000 gallons of water per day. So they just didn't have the space, and it kind of riled up the community. Community residents filed suit seeking to overturn an order to grant approval for the mall's construction, but the county planning officials said that they were just going to overturn it anyway and not let them build the mall. In a last effort to bully Shopko out, the state, as a part of their agreement to grant approval to build the mall, was forcing Shopko to pay for the state-owned nearby road repair and development, which was normally included in the state budget. This, along with the community lawsuit, finally killed the Franklin Mall project in 1985. Right back up on Route 140 in Westminster, Pence Petrie Shopping Center sign was still standing 15 years later in the same undeveloped farmland. Pence Petrie and Shopko found each other amidst their own darkest hours and decided to do business together. Shopko bought the farmland that sat undeveloped for so long, and in 1986, construction began on Shopko's Cranberry Mall in Westminster, Maryland. Shopko spared no expense when they finally got to build their mall. They purchased 50 miles of electrical cable to power the place. They acquired 12,000 tons of steel from South Carolina to reinforce it, and they had 65,000 square feet of marble tile imported from Italy to make it look beautiful. The 430,000 square foot mall on its 55.61 acre campus cost Shopko $36 million to build. The original anchors were to be Virginia-based department store Leggett, New York-based Caldor, and Baltimore-based Hutzler's. The mall had its grand opening and formal dedication on March 4th, 1987 at 12:45 p.m., but only 2 anchors were present. Despite signing a lease with the Cranberry Mall, Hutzler's went bankrupt. 3 lawsuits followed, and a few months later, Sears took over the building that was once meant for Hutzler's on October 26, 1987. Whenever I see a Payless shoe source in the wild, a little respect has to get paid each time. You have to tip your hat to this company because in the current climate, with Amazon and Zappos and all these other places that sell shoes at pretty fair prices, Payless will find a way to survive. So I couldn't help but walk into this one and check it out, because they're doing something right. Even though they're not doing incredibly well, they're still doing something right.
Let's face it, the dollar just isn't what it used to be. That's why people like you and me, we gotta be careful to get the most value for our money. That's why I come here, Taco Bell. I can feed my whole family for $5.59. 2 tacos, 2 bean burritos, 2 tostadas, pintos and cheese soft drinks. Only $5.59. Like they're saying, Taco Bell. What a meal, what a deal. No kidding. Taco Bell.
On October 11, 1988, Shopko formed a limited partnership with the Shearson Lehman Hutton Incorporated brokerage firm, who managed the investments of private individuals and businesses alike. Shearson paid a total of $53,847,500 for the Cranberry Mall and gained a 98% controlling interest. The prospectus forged by the partnership laid the plan out to fully lease the mall with Shopko as the manager and to ultimately sell it in 5 to 10 years. The same year, 1988, the mall appraised for $63 million. A couple of years later, on October 29, 1990, Montgomery Ward & Company opened as the 4th anchor. Even though some store managers were allegedly reporting sales to be 10% to 40% higher than projected when the mall first opened, business was really good. It was steady, and the mall was near 100% occupancy. Then, in 1992, a Walmart opened just a half a mile away. The Leggett Group tanked and was acquired by Belk, and 2 years later, in 1998, Caldor, who, according to SEC filings, accounted for 10% of the mall's rental payments to Shopko. They entered bankruptcy and they closed. A few months later, Shopko put the mall up for sale. A prospective buyer agreed to pay $39.7 million in December 1998, but they later withdrew. In July of 1999, Shopko agreed to sell the mall to a second buyer, which in November of 1999 transferred its rights to a newly incorporated subsidiary of Phoenix 4, who is a corporation licensed in the Bahamas and traded on the Luxembourg Stock Exchange. The subsidiary was called Cranberry Properties MM Corp. So this storefront right here, the Calendars, Games, and Toys, that used to be a Toys R Us Express. I don't think we'll be seeing those much anymore. And this, the lasered edges, used to be a... Well, what do you think it used to be? Let me know in the comments. SEC document addendums also show funds set aside to handle any catastrophic issues that were caused by the Y2K bug. So if their computers tanked because the date went from 1999 to 2000, there were funds set aside to handle that crisis. The whole deal was finalized in March of 2000. They began renovations shortly thereafter, updating the paint, common areas, and facades. Meanwhile, Montgomery Ward shuttered in 2001. The renovations to the Cranberry Mall were completed in 2002, and the mall was rebranded to the Town Mall of Westminster. In 2003, Boscov's replaced the Montgomery Ward, and the building was torn down to construct a beautiful two-story structure. Stephen Barry's also replaced the long-vacant Caldor building in the same year. In 2005, Cranberry Mall LLC of New York-based Radiant Partners LLC bought the mall for $45 million. In 2009, while business was steadily declining, Stephen Barry's closed, where everything is $10.98 and under, they closed. A year later, the space was split between Dick's Sporting Goods, Gold's Gym, and a bouncy castle place for kids. Cranberry Mall LLC stopped paying the mortgage in September of 2015. And then the Woodmont Company was appointed as receiver to the mall property on March 9, 2017, in an effort to finesse the mall out of its own darkest hour. I've been to a lot of dead malls. I've been to a lot of thriving malls. I've been to malls that are abandoned, and I've been to malls that are just way too out of my price range to buy anything. But the Town Mall at Westminster seems just in the middle somewhere. It's not dead, it's not thriving, but it's just still here, but on borrowed time. And I really hope it makes it. I can't thank all of you enough for the amazing support that you've shown this channel. The fact that we've reached 1,300 subscribers is just mind-blowing. I love the conversations that we get into. I love the recollections and the history that you've all provided in the comments. It provides just a time capsule. This channel is almost a time capsule for a lot of the places that I've visited, and I intend to keep this conversation going. There's so many more places that I'm going to visit in the future, and while today we're at 1,300 subscribers, maybe there'll be more in the future. If not, it'll still keep going, because my intent is to capture history and to preserve what once was for future generations. So again, thank you guys so much for all the support, and I'll see you soon. Take care, everybody.